Well, hello everybody. Today is Sunday and I've made another little video which I don't know if I'll post them both at the same time, but yesterday I kind of worked on different things throughout the day. It was a beautiful sunny day here yesterday and it is again today. We have not gotten those in a while, so here in Texas. So I'm very happy that it is like that today. So I was just kind of catching up on some of the YouTube channels that I watch, and a couple of the girls that I watch, they were doing coffee chats, and they do those regularly. I'm going to do not a coffee chat today, but something I don't usually enjoy anymore, and that is Coca-Cola. So I'm going to do a Coca-Cola chat, just kind of talking about some random stuff because it's been a while since I've been regularly making my videos, and I'm trying to get back into doing that. And I have some different things to talk about today, so I thought I would just do a Coca-Cola chat. So if you're drinking coffee or tea or water or whatever, or Coca-Cola, then just join in with me and hopefully you'll enjoy what we're going to talk about today. Today's Sunday, and there's been something going on in my church life, and so I think I may have mentioned this on one of my videos, but I'm really just not sure. So I'm going to kind of lead off by explaining that a little bit, and then I'll go into some other things. But our little church that we were members of for a long time, they disbanded. Basically, the church dissolved. And it was a little independent Baptist church, and just something we loved. The people there were just really very genuine, down-to-earth people. And the pastor's wife actually is a second cousin of my husband, and that's kind of how we started going there years back. We had been in a big church when our kids were growing up, and that church, we kind of just, it got a different pastor, and we ended up, there was a split basically in that church, and we kind of didn't feel like we belonged there anymore. So we ended up leaving that church, and then we just kind of were like a boat that was just on the water, just kind of floating. My husband was not saved at that time, and so I was pretty much the spiritual leader of the family, and I wasn't very good at it. And so anyway, for years and years, we had been kind of part of a little group within that church that was really good, strong people that cared about us. And it was a little core group of people. And I'd say that little core group was probably about 10 to 15 people that I really trusted, that they prayed for us and worked with us, and definitely were trying to help lead my husband to the Lord. And we just weren't living like a spiritual life that we should have if we wanted to grow as Christians. And so anyway, when we fell away from that church, we kind of just had no place to go. And then my husband's dad ended up passing away, and the pastor that was the husband of my husband's second cousin preached at the funeral service, and that's kind of where we got connected with that little church. And it was just a little country church, not a big congregation, but everybody there was just so loving and welcoming and really hardworking, wanting to serve the Lord. And we ended up, joining there. But we didn't join right away because, like I said, my husband was not saved. And the pastor came over and spoke with us when we talked about joining, maybe wanting to join. He came to our house and he kind of sat with us and he explained everything, shared the gospel and pretty much said, now, uh, you are welcome to come to the church and you're welcome to, participate in all the activities. That has nothing to do with, being a member, really. If you want to participate, you can come to the classes and, help out at different events and things like that. But to become a member, it was really important that we understood that if you're a Christian, these are the things, you need to be saved. And he kind of just went down, how to do that, what that meant. And so still my husband, he wasn't ready at that point. And so we just went there for a while, for a few years. And then my husband ended up getting saved at that church. And so we continued to go to that little church for years, several years after that. And then the church had a lot of elderly members, and just over time, some of the people that were younger, they either moved away from the area or just ended up joining bigger churches because of their kids, and they wanted more kids around. And so that, and then plus the elderly members of the church, sadly, some of them either passed away or they were moving to different areas to be near their kids because they needed help with, different things. And so they weren't living in the area close enough anymore. Some of them couldn't drive. Those kind of things started happening. And that's really very common with small churches. And I didn't know that at the time because I wasn't raised in the church. Kind of everything that happened was new. It was like a brand new day for me every time something would happen. So anyway, sadly, over this past couple of years, the writing was kind of on the wall that just the congregation was dwindling for various reasons. And we just have a wonderful pastor, and he was just led by the Lord, and he sought the Lord's direction in everything that he did and everything that he was trying to lead the church in. And so the past year, it was pretty much, brought to the church. This is what we're thinking. And, we want, of course, everybody to be like-minded on this. So, here's our reasoning and here's what we're thinking of doing. And so then over this past year, all of the things fell into place for that church land to be sold. And that kind of finalized itself right before Christmas. And it was really bittersweet because that church was 80 something years old. I think it was 83 years old. And that is just, it's a tough thing. And I know it's like losing a member of your family, really, because all of the things, all of the memories and everything, and then now it's just not going to be there. The memories are there, but the building's not going to be there. That church family's not going to be there. And so it was kind of hard to accept, but we had one more big homecoming service, and then that was pretty much the end. And so we're searching for a different church, and we found two that we really love the teaching and everything, but they could not be more polar opposite as far as the kind of churches that they are. They're both Baptist churches, but one is pretty much, it's a mega church, basically. It's not as big as some of these things that are televised and things like that. But for me, it's very large. And it's real local. I mean, it would be like a 5-minute drive, and the pastor is wonderful, and it's very diverse population in the congregation, and I love that. And I love, just the people that I have met there. Everybody seems like they're very they're very loving and accepting, and it's Bible based. I mean, it's very important to me that it be Bible taught, and not compromising that. So that's one of the churches. That was the first one that I visited alone because my husband is saved, but he is just not a regular churchgoer, and that's something that we're working on. But I visited this big church on my own, but I did have a couple that went to our old church. They'd been there forever. They were going also, so it wasn't like I was there all by myself and didn't know anybody. They were visiting too. So it was nice. So I sat with them. And then they also had visited this other smaller church, and it's a little country church, another Baptist church, but it's not that much farther. Well, it's about a 15-minute Sunday drive to get to that one. And so I visited there. My husband visited both churches with me too. And some of my friends from my old church now, 2 different families have joined this small church. So I got this big church over here that's Bible teaching, wonderful people, and this small church over here, not as small as the church that we had, but it's still small. And again, Bible teaching, good, solid, spiritual led. So that is what I did today. I was going back to the small church again and just kind of enjoyed worshiping there. And something else, which I'm going to be sharing this on the other I might share it on the other little video. I did take some video of it just so y'all could see it, but I'm going to show you now. Through a friend of mine that I work with at the Christian school. She belongs to a whole different church, a third church, and she invited me to come to a ladies' Bible study that they're doing, and I wanted to show y'all this. So this is the study that we're doing, and it's Priscilla Shirer, He Speaks to Me. Now, Priscilla Shirer, if you're not familiar with her, she is one of the daughters of Pastor Tony Evans, and she also played the wife in the Christian movie War Room. That was my first time ever hearing of her. I went to see that movie and I just fell in love with her, and I just thought, wow, she's amazing. And then I realized, she has Bible studies and everything. And so I started listening to some of her talks on YouTube and different things like that. And then when my friend invited me to come to this Bible study, and she said, yeah, it's a Priscilla Shirer, I chomped at the bit at that. And so I've been to the first one last Tuesday, and the next one's coming up on Valentine's Day. But we're not going to do anything on Valentine's Day anyway, this Valentine's Day evening, because it's on a Tuesday, and what fun is that? So we'll probably do something that following Friday or Saturday. But anyway, if you're looking for a Bible study, I highly recommend this, because I've only done, the first several days, and it's very good. And she wrote this and did this study back when her kids, she has 2 boys. She did this back when they were little bitty. I think one of them was 4 and one was just still an infant. And her boys are big, big boys now. I don't know their exact ages, but they're at least high school age, maybe a little bit more. And so this has been around for a while, but I am really enjoying it. So that is one of the things that I'm doing today. It's Super Bowl Sunday. I do not get into football at all. Our Dallas Cowboys got knocked out of it a while back, but again, I'm just one of those people, and I'm sorry if you're a huge football fan, but I've never been into it. And, I understand the people that are, and I let them do their football thing, but none of my kids were really into athletics or anything like that. My kids were all into music, pretty much that, and hockey. They were a little bit into hockey, but there wasn't all these hockey teams for kids back when I was raising up my kids that there are now. They're way more convenient to find nowadays. There's kind of these hockey teams all around the Dallas area now. But when my kids were that age, the only hockey thing I could find that one of my boys did participate in, it was a roller hockey team that was a city league, I think, and it was in the little town we used to live in. And he did that for a while. Other than that, sports-wise, my kids pretty much did. They did t-ball. One of them made it as far as coach. No, he stayed in until it was kid pitch, and I think he did 1 year of kid pitch, and then that was it. And it just wasn't really for him. He was way more into music, and he wasn't willing to put in the practice and stuff that it took to really move up in the ranks in those kid leagues of sports. So my daughter did play basketball in school for a while, around middle school age, and she liked that. And to this day, she still likes basketball. But sports-wise, my oldest son, he was on the football team 1 year in middle school, and he was not big in middle school. And I think he found out real quick that that really wasn't for him. So that's pretty much our exposure to sports around here. But my husband really loves football, and he's going to be watching this Super Bowl game today, and I know who he's pulling for. So I'll tell you who he's not pulling for is the Eagles. He absolutely can't stand them, and he has reasoning behind why he can't stand them. But anyway, that's he's rooting for the other team. So we're not doing a Super Bowl party or anything like that. Pretty much he'll watch the game, and we may have some snacks, and I'm going to ignore the game, and that'll be it. So anyway, I hope everybody is having a great day and a great weekend, a restful weekend, and that you have a good week. I only have a 4-day week this week because at my school we're going to be off on Friday and on the following Monday for President's Day. So woohoo for that. I'm not used to getting off days for those, that holiday. So I'm pretty excited about that. And we just had, not this past week, but the week before, we just had a 1-day week because my area got a huge ice storm, really all of Texas. But my area, boy, I did take some footage of that, and I may put it in at the very end of this video so you could just kind of see what that ice looked like here in my neighborhood. But let's just suffice it to say that for the first 3 days, for sure, I didn't even open the door except when I was taking a little video. That was it. I didn't go anywhere, didn't try to go anywhere. I didn't venture outside even walking because I know, number one, I'm not the most sure-footed person in the first place. So for sure, I wasn't going to step out on a sheet of ice. I do not need a broken arm or leg. I've made it this far in life, knock on wood, without any broken bones. And I wasn't about to just go ahead and say, hey, at 59 years old, I think I'll go walk on some slippery ice. No way. So we pretty much stayed holed up in the house. We had our preps, so we weren't having to go and deal with the huge lines at the one grocery store that was open during that time. And I mean, I saw videos online, pictures online of the store, the Kroger that was in our area, that was the only one that was staying open. And man, I wouldn't have wanted to be in that line. And the shelves were empty in these pictures too. So made me see how important it is to kind of prep. And, I'm not I'm not one of these doomsday preppers, obviously, or anything like that. But I do have my little prepping closets with extra things. And that really came in handy. I mean, it doesn't have to be the end of civilized society to need to prep a little bit. I mean, that showed it. For 4 days, we had ice on the ground. Now that fourth day, that Friday, it was bad in the morning, but it did warm up enough that it pretty much melted most of it So by Friday afternoon, I did venture out and I got some Chick-fil-A, but there was no way I was going to try to drive on that before, or even walk out to the car. And the car was covered in ice too. So anyway, it's wonderful sunny day today here. This whole weekend's been nice, warm. I even had the windows open yesterday when I was cleaning. So I'm excited about that. And those are my kind of days. I like that. So anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful week. You all stay safe. And thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my Coca-Cola chat. And see y'all next time. All right. Bye-bye.